you don't have to know everything. You don't know everything. In fact, here's the cool thing. There is so much you don't know, even about yourself, and now's the time to find out. Who are you right now? This is a question that we're not prepared for when we stop working. It's not the same as what do you do? It's not the same as what's your job title. It's who are you really now that you don't have a time clock to punch or a report to put out or a meeting to go to. Who are you? If retirement has you feeling like you took off one identity but forgot to pack a new one, you're not alone. And here's the good news. This is where it gets really interesting. Today we're going to talk about how to rebuild your purpose and your identity after work. It's not about going backwards, it's about creating forwards. But first, let's talk about why it might feel so hard. This is kind of the elephant in the room. When you were working, you had structure and purpose, and you got feedback, and you had goals. And whether you liked it or not, you had a clear identity. And once you leave that behind, it can feel like you're floating, like you're untethered. And people are going to say, oh, just enjoy it. But when you're sitting there with long stretches of hours and days and weeks in front of you, you might be asking yourself, yeah, but enjoying what? What is it that I'm supposed to be enjoying? Now, for some of you, this really is a no-brainer. You just slid right into it, and kudos to you. But there are a whole lot of people who find it a little bit more difficult than that. And beyond enjoying your time, there's also sort of a feeling of feeling suddenly invisible. When you were working, you had people who counted on you, people who you could help, and products you created, whether it was, an actual product or a spreadsheet. You had things that you were creating, adding value. And once you retired, you can feel kind of invisible or irrelevant. And this feeling, it doesn't mean you failed. It's not a failure. What it means is that you're in transition. And like all transitions, it's gonna feel uncomfortable, and there are so many possibilities. Now, I think there are 3 myths that might be holding you back. Let's get those out of the way. The first one is, I'm too old to do anything new. Quite the opposite. Purpose is not age dependent. Some of the most vibrant, creative, meaningful reinventions have happened to people and from people later in their lives. Let me give you some examples. Now, I'm going to read these because I can't memorize all of this. The first example is Grandma Moses. She was, wait for it, 78 years old when she started painting. And by the time she passed away, when she was, I think it was 105, she had painted almost 1,500 paintings, some of them incredibly popular and famous. 78 is when she started painting. Another good example of this is a woman by the name of Ernestine Shepherd. Now, Ernestine became a bodybuilding champion at 73 years old. And she didn't even start bodybuilding until she was 56. I'm only 57 right now. That is really amazing. And today she's still a personal trainer and a glowing example that it's never too late to start something new. And the last example is a man by the name of, Roger, Peter Roger, who created, guess what? When he was 73, Roger's thesaurus. That's right. After a career in medicine, he decided to pursue a personal passion project with words, and he started compiling all of these words and categorizing them and putting together and created the world's first thesaurus. Now, these are 3 amazing big examples of people who started something new when they were in their later years. And purpose and identity doesn't have to be these big, massive things. We'll get to that in a little bit. The second myth is that you should already know what you want after you retire. And I'm just going to call bogus on that, because guess what? When you were 20, 21, 22 coming out of college, or when you were 18 coming out of high school, you didn't know exactly what you wanted to do. There are a very, very small number of people who know exactly what they want to do when they're younger and go for it and do it. I actually don't think I know many people at all who are directly using the bachelor's degrees that they got in college. You don't have to know everything. You don't know everything. In fact, here's the cool thing. There is so much you don't know, even about yourself, and now's the time to find out. When I retired, I didn't know I wanted to create a YouTube channel. A few years later, and here I am. I'm a YouTube creator. Blows my mind. I had no idea. It never even crossed my mind, ever. And the third thing is the thing I wanted to get back to. Purpose doesn't have to be big and impressive. Actually, purpose has more to do with the small daily activities and small daily things, rather than one big life-changing, world-changing purpose. Purpose is volunteering. Purpose is helping family members. Purpose is being a good companion for your dog. Purpose is tending a garden, and on and on. Now, you can get really existential about purpose, but really when you break it down, it's a very, very simple thing. Purpose is what gets you up in the morning. Purpose is what makes you want to get up and start your day. Maybe it's that your dog needs to go out for a walk. Maybe it's you have a neighbor who needs help getting their mail. Maybe it's, your garden needs some weeding. Maybe whatever that is. Purpose is, why am I getting up every day? Why am I here? Okay, now it's getting back into the existential, but really stick to the basics. Stick to thinking of it as the simple day-to-day reasons for you to be doing what you're doing. And if you're not sure what I mean, try this. When you go out about your day, whether it's just in your house or whether you're out and about running errands or whatever it is you're doing, pay attention to the small things that you notice that spark joy. And I don't mean in the Marie Kondo way. I mean, when you glance at a plant with flowers, or you see a bird, or you see an older person being pushed by their kid or their grandkid in a wheelchair, and they're taking them grocery shopping, or maybe it's hearing a piece of music that you really, really love. Notice those things. Notice the things that bring you even just that one little blip of joy, and keep track of those things. Keep track of what it is that makes you notice, that makes you feel, I don't know if it's warm and fuzzy or gives you goosebumps, or just makes the corners of your mouth smile just a little bit. Those are things worth paying attention to. And when you start making a list of what those things are, you might use those as a jumping off point to think about what it is you can do to find your purpose. Now, let's get into some more actionable steps that you can do to help you find your purpose and start creating your new identity. The first step is recognizing what it is that you're leaving behind and what it is that you're looking forward to. And here's what I mean by that. When you think about yourself and your work career that you're no longer doing, what are the things that you would identify as what your purpose was in work? And I mean, not specifically, well, my purpose was to answer the phone. Maybe what it is, reframe that instead, is my purpose was to help people who needed direction figuring out who to talk to help people. And let me give you, the only way I can really explain this is to give you an example of how I thought about this. Now, I didn't think about this right away. I actually neglected to think about this, and I did a whole video about that that I'll link to here and in the video, this video's description. But what was it about your job and your career that you really enjoyed doing that gave you a sense of purpose and identity? For me, it was helping people. It was being relevant, being valuable. It was learning every day. It was being with people who were smart and funny and kind and that I really felt a sense of connection with. Those are the things that I really leaned on when I was working. And when I stopped working, when I retired, I didn't stop to think about how I was going to get all of that outside of a work environment. And that really kind of threw me into a little bit of a mini crisis until I realized it. And then I thought, okay, helping people, that really made me happy. That really gave me a sense of purpose and identity. How can I do that outside of the work environment? Feeling valuable. How can I do that in a non-work environment? What things can I do? What activities can I do that will help me to feel like I'm valuable to someone? You get the picture? Okay, so take a few minutes. Think about what it is that you got out of work. Think about the best parts of your working identity. Maybe it was leadership. Maybe it was problem solving. Maybe it was creativity or helping others. These concepts, these things that add to your sense of purpose are portable. You can get those from some other activity. It's the activity that changes, not the thing that brings you joy and purpose and identity. You don't lose the best part of your work identity just because you're not punching a time clock anymore. You still have those. You are still valuable. You are a good problem solver. You are a good leader. You are a good helper. Find other ways to get that back into your life. The next thing you can do to help you figure this out is to experiment with curiosity, not pressure. And here's what I mean by that. There's no pressure for you to change the world. There is no pressure for you to be the next Grandma Moses with your painting. There is no pressure for you to do anything. Approach it with a sense of creativity. What are the possibilities? Don't think about the outcomes. Don't think about okay, what am I going to have to show for myself at the end of the day? Unless that helps you. For some people, that's very helpful. And if it does, just do it. But take the pressure off of yourself. Nobody's judging you, or nobody should be judging you. Nobody's keeping track. Nobody's, keeping score. Approach this with curiosity and a vision forward rather than pressure and expectations on yourself. The next thing you can do is create a new weekly rhythm. And what I mean by that is rather than just, again, this is going to be different for everybody. I say all over my channel that there is no one size fits all. So if any of this doesn't sound right to you, just discard it. Take what does sound right and use that. But what I mean by a weekly rhythm is sort of planning out your week a little bit. Try to set some pillars within your week to sort of anchor yourself around. They don't have to be great big things. It might be, I'm going to start every other day with a walk. Maybe it's once a week, I'm going to start my day with a walk. Maybe it's, I'm going to make a coffee date with one friend. Maybe it's, you get the drift, right? Pick something, whatever it is, and anchor yourself around that throughout the week. Now, the reason why I'm not saying do this on a daily basis is because that can feel very constricting for some people. So I don't want you to feel that. If you need that, or if you think you want that something every day, then do that. Again, not one size fits all. But my suggestion would be to start with looking at your week as a whole. Sit down on Sunday night, figure out what your week might look like, and put some pillars in place. And maybe do that for 2 or 3 weeks. And here's the thing. If you don't like it, change it. If you didn't like grabbing coffee with a friend, but you still want to do the friend thing, maybe you don't drink coffee, go for a walk with a friend. Maybe it's you go see a movie with a friend or something like that, but maybe it's a friend activity. You do one friend activity a week and see where it goes from there. And keep your eyes out for new ones, and then adjust as you go along the way. And when you sort of anchor, give yourself some things to anchor around, the week can feel a little bit more comfortable. It can feel like, okay, I did this thing. I got out of the house. I participated in this. I connected with people here. And it gives you sort of a sense of, okay, now I feel this rhythm. And once you're in a rhythm, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. And I think you'd be surprised what comes after that. I think you'd be surprised. And the last thing that I'd like you to try for now is to make something. Just because, just create, make something. Again, I don't mean paint a masterpiece. I don't mean, build a house. Smaller things. Make something, make a new meal, do a drawing. Let me give you an example of something that I did today. I am currently reading, it's actually a buddy read with another YouTube creator by the name of Tracy. I think you would really love her channel. Anyway, I'll link it in the description. And Tracy and I are reading The Book of Alchemy by Suleika, I think it's pronounced Jawad. And she also wrote the book Between Two Kingdoms. If you don't know who she is, get curious. She's really fascinating and inspiring. But she just came out with this book called The Book of Alchemy. I'll put a link to the book below in the description. And it's called A Creative Practice for an Inspired Life. And what it is it's a day-to-day, just very quickly, it's a day-to-day journaling exercise where you get a prompt from someone. It's not just her. She's got 100 different people in this book, and each one gives you just a quick page and a half of a little story and then a prompt to journal. And today the prompt was called Closed Eye Giraffe. I'm on day 37, I think, of this 100-day project. And this closed eye giraffe, what the prompt was, and it might sound a little weird, but I'm going to show you anyway, is to sit down with a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, close your eye, put your pen or pencil to the paper, close your eyes, and from your memory, from what's inside your head, draw a very simple sketch without picking up your pen, one line. I think that was in the instructions. That's how I did it. Draw a simple sketch of a giraffe. Could be the whole body, could be just the face, could be whatever you wanted. And it was fascinating. Now, I've done this blind drawing before, and I love the exercise. It's great. But this was today's, and I wanted to share this with you. It's being a little vulnerable because, here I am. I'm not an artist. I mean, I am an artist, but I'm not a sketch artist. This was super fun. It took all of about 45 seconds, and what a fun thing. And it just sort of was like super whimsical and unexpected. And I did this in the morning outside on my front patio in the sun and just had the most fun time with it. So that counts. Create something. Just randomly create something. And the act of creativity, it's not about what it is that you create. It's more about building your creative muscles. And again, creativity is not just about art. You find creativity in, I know software engineers who are some of the most creative people, creative problem solvers that I've ever known. There are a million different ways to create something or express creativity. It's a great place to start because it gets your brain working in that way. And at the end of the day, aren't we creating a life for ourselves? We're creating this life after work. And as you exercise these creativity muscles or these creativity neurons in your brain, it'll help you figure out what it is you want to do with the rest of your life. And the identity you build now isn't about status or productivity. It's about expression and connection and aliveness. You're not just a former anything. You're a present-day creator of a life meaningful to you. Purpose can be fluid. It can change from month to month, season to season, or year to year. It also doesn't need to be perfect. What matters is that you're in motion, engaged with life, and aligned with what lights you up. So here's your gentle assignment. Take a small step towards creating a new identity for yourself today. Even if you think you've got that figured out, play along with me. Try something new. Just start something. Do something new. Do something different. Do something unexpected. Or do something very expected, but do something. If you already have an idea about what you want to do, leave it in the comments below. I would love to hear about it and have a conversation about it. If you don't already know what you want to do and you want to take some time to think about it, maybe if it's possible, you could come back to the comments, and when you have figured it out, or when you have an idea, or if you have a question about the process and you need help taking that next step, put that in the comments also. I'd love to engage with you on this. I think this is so critical in creating a post-work life where you find happiness, where you find joy. And you don't need all the money in the world. You don't need to have a big bank account or a big IRA sitting in the wings in order to do this. I'm not telling you to go travel the world or anything. This is about who you are when you wake up in the morning, who you are when you go to bed at night, who you are when you walk into a dinner party or a cocktail party or a restaurant and somebody says, "Hey, tell me about yourself. What do you do? Who are you?" because I've been through this. This tripped me up so much because I didn't want to say, "Oh, I'm retired," because people don't tend to ask too many questions after that. They go, "Oh, okay," and they move on. But there's so much more to who you are. There's so much more. And having that little, this is an extra pro tip, having a little sort of elevator pitch is how I think about it. When people do ask you, "What do you do?" or, "Tell me about yourself," instead of saying you're retired, what is it that you're going to say? And imagine what you would like to be able to say to somebody. And maybe that's where you start. Maybe if you think about what you would say to somebody in that case, and what you would want to be able to say is, "Oh, I spend a lot of time, doing art," or "I spend a lot of time exploring the wildlife in my area," or all of the things that you would want to be able to say to somebody. If you're not actually doing those things, maybe that's your tip. Maybe that's your tip off, right? Maybe that's what you go after. So let me know what it is that you feel like one little baby step that you can take to start the rest of your life. You're not alone, and your next chapter is calling you. Can you hear it? I can hear it. Can you hear it? Thanks for being with me today. Let's go build a life that we really want to live. Whoops. Okay, wow, I just broke the chair. I just broke the chair. Do you want to see? It's broken. Oh well.